Frank, obviously there was a lot said about the guys coming back this weekend and really kind of inspiring the team. How do you take that energy and that inspiration and carry it into the next game and throughout the rest of the season?
I don't. I don't. I've had that energy every day. That's why those guys and me are so tight. That's why those guys are in all their different places, take pride in what we did here. And they were so – I never asked them to come back. They did that on their own. The guys in the locker room got to take that energy. Me and my staff, people say whatever they want to say. We're positive, and we bring that every day. That's where the growth in our locker room has to take place. That's those guys. They're the ones that got to take it. That's why when I tell you they be whatever page they want to be, they better be on my page. That's what I'm talking about. It's not me trying to be Mr. Dictator, tough guy. It had nothing to do with that. They better be on that page that those guys that don't play here anymore, that they brought, that's the page that we were on. That's my page. Those new guys, they can be on their page all they want. I can care less. They better be on that page. But that's on them. They got to figure out what now. I'm a lot of things, but I can tell you what I'm not. I don't lie. And I bring it. You ask any players ever played for me, whether they like me or not, I bring it every day. I don't just bring it when I'm mad. I bring it every day. And we need guys to learn that.
This will be the second time you've played a team that you'd beaten. And I know that the approach probably wasn't what you wanted against Florida. How do you rectify that, and how do you impart that on the guys going into this game against Georgia?
Yeah, I don't think one has anything to do with the other. We're different mindset, this week than we were that week. But so's Georgia. They've won a couple in a row, I believe. I haven't really looked at their schedule, but I think they've won 2 in a row at Florida, and they just beat Tennessee. So they're feeling good about themselves. Obviously, they know we won the last time we played, that they're not going to be real happy about that. I mean, it's every game's separate from the other games. What matters is your team's mindset going into that game. And our mindset, I mean, we didn't practice yesterday. I expected to be good today. But if we come in here floundering and I got to start leading again, our mindset won't be good by Wednesday at 6:30. And that's kind of to piggyback on my answer to David earlier. That's, how does that work? How do the guys handle, because we were pretty good going into Tennessee. And we played hard enough to win at Tennessee, but didn't win. And then being able to come in here Thursday, Friday, and being a part of what we went through and winning, I'm hoping that there's a sense of confidence that guys are more willing to do more, so we can continue battling here. But it's going to be hard. I mean, just go back, hit rewind every time we play Georgia. I just said this at the SEC deal there. I can think of one game at Georgia, but outside of that one, where with a minute to go, the coaches are just sitting down saying, okay, this game's over. I think every game's come down to that last minute, last possession of the game. Every game's an absolute rock fight. I don't think this one's going to be any different.
Hey, Frank, do you find that maybe the last couple of weeks of the regular season are the hardest stretch to get through? I mean, obviously the league is at maybe the hardest it's been in a long time, but is this stretch particularly difficult for you and the players here with a couple of weeks still left to play?
It's hard in every league, every year. I just said that in some guy, I don't know from where, Tennessee somewhere, asked me a question. And I told him, I said, because they tried to use the fact that I can't remember what the team they just asked me about and compared to us because we lost 4 of our last 6. And I said, well, we lost 3 of those 4 on the road to NCAA teams, and we lost 1 at home to an NCAA team, you know, and then in the conference tournament, we lost to a team that won 21 games. So, you know, that's what happens at this time of year. You unfortunately lose games. You're playing against real good teams that are old, that have real good coaches. Every team has seniors, and they know that the end for their college career is near, so the sense of urgency grows, so it makes it harder to win, especially on the road. So it's just the way the season always goes. That's why February is such a hard month for coaches, because it's just because you're managing your team, and at the same time you're getting everybody's best shot. Nobody's going to say just go ahead and win. You know, it gets complicated from that standpoint. Winning becomes a little harder, especially on the road.
Serious question about Cud, though. When you saw him in high school, obviously you see this.
That's what I did.
Well, that's kind of my point, though. Like,
I'm lying.
but when you see a guy like that, and obviously you've taken on guys of that size before, what like things do you look at in developments in their game? Obviously, the size is one thing, but they got to learn how to adapt to it and play at that level. He was in here today and said he can sense the improvement in his game from when he started here to now. Like, what things do you look at with guys of that size, and what have you seen in a guy like Jason Cud?
When you're a big guy like that, for the most part, contact. Do you avoid contact? If you do, you're always going to struggle as a player, because he's never going to defend little guys. So that means he's going to have to deal with all kinds of contact every single play. Footwork. Can he move his feet? Because post play is all about footwork. Basketball is about footwork, but post play is all about footwork. Because can he move his feet? Last part, hands. Can he catch the ball? Can he pass the ball? Can he shoot the ball? Anything involving his hands. And he checked every one of those boxes for me. Now, I realized that at the beginning it was not going to be easy for him because of the speed of college basketball, because of the strength of college basketball. You know, there was some conversation initially initiated by him about redshirting this year. And I'll tell you what I told him. I said, this was back last summer. Why worry about something before we get there? And once we got closer to the season, he never asked again because he knew he had a chance to play. And he's worked at it. He's a competitor. You know, he's very quiet, but he's got pride. And I think all those things put together allow him to keep getting up. And we're hard on him now. Because I think he can grow so much. So I'm constantly prodding, pushing, pulling to get him to do more. He's fun. Our staff likes him a lot. Teammates like him a lot. He's fun. He's fun. You know, and the best part about him is he wants you to coach him. You know, in an era where a lot of 18-year-olds and, heck, a lot of parents don't want you to challenge their children. They want everyone to be happy, hunky-dory, playing patty cake. Jason wants you to challenge him. Jason wants you to coach him. He doesn't want you to allow him to be who he is. He wants you to help him grow. And it's fun to be around someone like that.
Coach, Frank Booker said during that 5-6 game losing streak that he saw a little different look in his teammates' eyes during practice. Do you expect with this win, with Sin and PJ coming back, that maybe the look in their eyes will go back to being fiery during practice?
That's what you call leadership. Somebody's got to take ownership of that. And if it's not there, then it's got to come from me. And if it comes from me, then people's feelings are hurt. And then I can't coach basketball. And if I can't coach, I got to either – coaches have to do one of two things. You're either, which I did when I got here, promote the competitiveness, the atmosphere, what we're going to tolerate and not tolerate in our program, or you got to coach basketball. You can't do both. If you're doing both, you're not going to be very good. So you got to do one or the other. I have spent too much time this year on the first. And as long as I'm doing that, it's hard to be good from a strategy standpoint, so that means you're not going to win games. And, you know, the biggest takeaway, you'd have to ask Justin Minaya, since he's the one guy that came to me right away. To use his words, I see now what you've been talking about, is the competitiveness, how engaged, how vocal, how helpful those guys were. That's what Frank Booker's talking about. And if you're going to be a good team, that's got to come from the players. Once it comes from the players, then coaches can worry about strategy. And for 2 years, I've been worried about strategy. 2.5 years. Everything started turning Senderis' sophomore year. During that season, everything started turning. And so for 2.5 years, I've been worried about coaching strategy, helping players improve. All of a sudden this year, I've been dealing with the other stuff. So that's why we're so inconsistent with strategy, because we're trying to figure all that stuff out. I think Cud's puke got my eye, excuse me. But that's, I'm hoping that's where growth on this team takes place. That's what, I don't want to speak for Book, but I think that's what he's trying to express when he says that.
Frank, you mentioned it a little bit on the teleconference, but the situation with Andy at Ole Miss, did he talk to you about what he was thinking, what he was planning during this process?
Yeah, we talk all the time, so I haven't been caught by surprise by anything, but it's unfortunate because he's one of the great guys in basketball. He's been so good for this conference, let alone the University of Mississippi. He's good for kids, and to hear him, and he said it publicly, so I'm comfortable with what I'm going to say. To hear him be so frustrated with the obvious disconnect that exists between his team and him right now, I don't think I've ever heard him. And I'm telling you, I was with him in Cincinnati when it was. I've never in my life been around so many distractions, so much stuff going on that would prevent you from doing your job, and seeing someone manage it and keep everyone together. Unbelievable. And to hear him as this privately as this year's gone on, and to see the disconnect that he feels that exists between him and his team, that's a shame. Because he is about kids. He is, he helps them. He listens to them. He's patient with them. That's why he wins, because those kids believe in him, and they always have. And we won 20 games at Cincinnati. We had Connor Barwin and a walk-on kid that was walking the hallways, who was a walk-on at Wake Forest, who decided to, when he got his undergrad from Wake, decided to go to Cincinnati. I can't remember his name. Decided to go to Cincinnati to get a doctorate degree. Wanted to be a doctor. And he went to Cincinnati, and we found out that he was just walking campus. We had him and Connor Barwin in our top 8. And we won 21 games with those. I'm just telling you. And to hear him say what he said publicly, which I was already aware of, it's a little disheartening. And if you pay attention, you're hearing a lot of coaches share the same message publicly. It's not isolated now. It's a societal problem, and it's definitely a problem in college basketball. There's an uncomfortable mindset that we have to change when kids get on our campus, and it's hit and miss now. It's hit and miss.
Andrew, you mentioned Book. For him and Wes, have you ever had a team like this where you've had your 2 seniors are guys that just came in, your only seniors are guys that came in late, and do you sense their urgency here? Everybody talks about, hey, next year could be great for you guys, everything, the future's bright, but they only have a certain number of games left here. Do you sense that with him, and is this a unique thing to have 2 seniors like this? Your only 2 seniors being guys that weren't with the program the whole time?
yeah, I've never been around, that situation. I mean, my first year here, I had a guy named Lachey Page as a grad transfer. I don't think we had another senior. Lakeem Jackson was a senior. But Lachey was not part of our team after December 13th, 14th, or something like that. So he wasn't a part of it at this time of year. Lakeem was a 4-year guy, so it's still a little different. But it's and then in respect to the two guys you asked me about, they're two polar opposites as people. Frank never shuts up. Wes never speaks. It's a complete polar opposites of people. And so you're with Frank, you're trying to make sure that what comes out of his mouth is real. With Wes, you're trying to figure out what's in his brain because he doesn't share it. And so as I'm trying to figure them out and trying to help them, you only have X number of days to do that, and it's a small window. I think they've both gotten better. I mean, that's my opinion. You take in consideration, Book barely played last year at Florida Atlantic. And that's after playing serious minutes for a Sweet 16 team in Oklahoma. And he's become pretty consistent. He went through a bad 10, 12-day window here recently, and I think it had more to do with the team than just him. He's outside of that, he's been pretty good. I think Wes has been a little up and down, but I think he's in a better place as a player. What I've told both of them, and I want them when they're done here to feel like they're winning players, and to feel good about that experience, to feel good about the experience here. That book we haven't finished writing it yet, but I know both of them at different times have told me privately, I wish I would have been a part of this program for 4 years. But that's not going to be the case. So we got to make the best of it in the 1 year we got together.
Is there any update with Brian and kind of NCAA reinstatement? I know you talked about playing it slow. Is there any update?
No. I don't want to get into like every step what's happening. Whenever there's like real information that's valid stuff, we'll be more than, we're not trying to hide anything. We'll be more than happy to share. I think everyone knows his story, so it's not like we're trying to kind of hide anything from anybody. It's, first of all, I'm an open book. I'm not into hiding stuff. And second of all, that's a process that our compliance people are handling, and there has been some stuff going on, but nothing to sit here and tell you that there's any kind of resolution or that kind of stuff. Yep.